Hi, and welcome to the Theme Park Duo podcast. Grab your park map, churro, and hop in line with us as we take you on a coast-to-coast adventure through the world of theme parks, haunts, conventions, and more. Now, here's your hosts, Nikki and Gabriel.
Hello and welcome back, everybody, to Season 2 of the Theme Park Duo podcast. I'm Gabriel.
And I'm Nikki.
And we are the Theme Park Duo. Now, if you haven't listened to our show before, what are you doing? You should go listen to Season 1. We have so many freaking fantastic episodes that you should go check them out. But if you're here in the car and you can't really change it and you don't want to, touch your phone while you're driving, we are the Theme Park Duo, as you heard us say, and we are two people who just love theme parks. It's me and my wife, Nikki. Beautiful wife, Nikki, sitting right over
thank
here
you.
in the seat across from me. Love theme parks, Disneyland, Knott, Six Flags, SeaWorld, Universal, all that stuff. And we just love talking about the different subjects that come within that category. Whether it's something that's serious like last season where we talked about political correctness in theme parks, or something just ridiculously fun like a top 10 list or something like that. So that's what you're going to find here. And we also have reviews as well. We love going to different theme park events like haunts and Christmas events and things like that. So you have a lot of that to look forward to in Season 2 of the Theme Park Duo podcast if you're new to us.
Yeah, lots of fun stuff coming up. I'm excited.
So, and then also I didn't really introduce our third host because she doesn't really make too many appearances, but it's our rat, Solita. She's always on the ground. You'll hear her drinking water, doing some random stuff when she shouldn't be doing it. So, that's the third host. And you hear it in the background. So, but just to get stuff started already quickly, let's get into our first segment of Season 2 with Park Peeves. Please, no flash pictures. Please, no running. Keep moving down the walkway, please.
Welcome to Park Peeves.
Now, Park Peeves is a segment that I wanted to do for quite a while, where we actually talk about things that annoy us at theme parks.
We love them, but,
there's things
happen.
Inevitably, there's things that we don't like seeing, we don't like hearing, things that annoy us when we're there. We're human beings. We have our issues. But there's inevitably something at a theme park that's going to annoy us. And with this particular one in mind, I know that there's somebody in the room with me that I'm looking at right now that is a victim.
Oh, stop.
Is a victim.
I'm just lazy. I forget
is a victim
words.
of doing this. Now, the thing I'm talking about is whenever we tend to run into people who aren't necessarily theme park people, but more importantly, theme park people, I've heard say this, referencing the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, they call it Harry Potter Land or Harry Potter World. One, that is not acceptable in any form. Ever.
Okay.
Ever.
I'm defending myself because he knows I say this occasionally.
I did warn you. Warn you because we were going to do this. It was like, FYI, we're going to do this thing. Don't get defensive. I'm not attacking you.
No, I'm getting defensive. Okay, most of the time I say Hogsmeade. Yes?
That's totally acceptable.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to make an adjustment to this. If you call it like the location that it is based off of, so like Hogsmeade, Diagon Alley, or whatever it is.
Sometimes I just yell butterbeer.
That's totally fine. That is true. You do just reference it as butterbeer.
I want butterbeer.
Your butterbeer right there. But if you're referencing it as its proper location, that is fine too. But the other names of it are the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
It's too long.
You can't call it Harry Potter Land. That's not what it technically that's what it is, but that's not its name.
Okay,
it's so annoying. It's not its name.
Disneyland has set a precedent.
It's set presents. It's set presents out there for everybody to open. I heard presents.
No, I never said presents. A Harry Potter. Oh my god, I'm getting all flustered. Disneyland set a years-long precedent as naming things land. It's what everyone knows, and so people default to it. Even the best among us.
So you're the best among us. Okay, I just wanted to get that in the clear there. But I do agree. I completely agree.
I'm such a big Harry Potter fan.
I know you are. I know you are.
And I just want to defend myself because I think if I say Harry Potter, like, hey, let's go to Harry Potter.
Nikki's face is getting really red.
If I just say, like, hey, let's go to Harry Potter, I think that's good enough. You get it. And I don't need to say the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. That's so much. So I just say, let's go to Harry Potter or let's go to Hogsmeade. Every once in a while, my Disney brain just throws a land at the end of Harry Potter.
Butterbeer Land.
So sue me. Hey, Butterbeer Land. I'm going to start
I will
calling
sue
it.
you. I will sue you. Universal might sue you for bastardizing their land.
I love the place. It's my favorite place in Universal.
You never want to leave. Whenever we go, you don't like leaving.
I know. I hate the rest of the park now. I just want to stay. I don't hate the rest of the park. I'm going to extremes.
No, in your defense, yes, Disney has done that. So being one of the biggest theme parks in the world, people are very used to hearing Adventure Land, Fantasy Land, Tomorrow Land, Frontier Land. So whenever any other theme park opens up a themed area that's brand new, it is going to inevitably be, whatever the subject matter is, land, because of Disney. So I completely agree with you on that. That's their fault for doing that to the masses of people who go to Disney every single year, who are just familiar with it.
Are you going to get on my case for saying Star Wars Land? Because I'm going to say Star Wars Land.
Not necessarily, because I think that's a bit of a different situation, because I'm pretty sure the Disney company was referencing it as Star Wars Land before they announced it as Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
So it's a little different because the company actually said that so that they didn't have to release the actual name of the land, which is Galaxy's Edge, or Batu, which is the planet. So that's totally different situation. I mean, many people reference it as Star Wars Land. I have a hard time referencing it as Galaxy's Edge because I just keep thinking I'm talking about a phone.
Yeah.
So I don't want to. But Harry Potter is very, very different. So if you're out there, just try referencing it as the way it should be referenced once or twice.
I mean, all that being said, it annoys me when people say Harry Potter Land.
It bugs the shit out of me, I'm not gonna lie.
That being said,
I feel like anytime someone's like, I want to go to Harry Potter World, I'm like I twitch, like my brain just like seizes for like 2 seconds. So, but that ends Park Peeves. Just having some fun with the subject matter, you know, nothing too serious. We're not getting mad at people for any of these really ridiculous things. I think we did something about like people rolling over our ankles with strollers last season or something. I forgot. Something to that extent.
We just mentioned how I got injured during our honeymoon because.
Oh yeah, because you got ran over by like one of those motorized vehicles.
Yeah. No,
and then we took a picture of you like underneath one.
I got fender bendered. She bumped into me. Like I was walking in front of her and she like accelerated.
Yeah, I know. I was there.
I know.
I had to get your Band-Aids.
Bleeding. I was bleeding out of my
foot. This got really dramatic. I apologize.
Through
everyone.
Hall of Presidents.
This is extremely dramatic. I apologize. Nikki's talking about dragging blood stains through the Hall of Presidents.
It was awful.
It wasn't that bad. It was, you were bleeding, but you didn't drag a trail of blood through Walt Disney World.
No, you're the one that said that. I just said I was like.
You just said it.
No, you said it. You said I was trailing blood.
This is the conversations you get with a married couple. Anyway, moving on.
Scooters are evil.
Let's talk. Scooters are evil.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Moving away from evil scooters.
They're so evil.
Yes, they are. Let's talk about a little news that came out this morning that people are chattering about. So let's head into our news segment, the Theme Park Bulletin. Yes, I'm sure you already know that we are going to be talking about a piece of Disney news. Unfortunately, Disneyland Resort has raised their prices once again for tickets and angle passes.
Yeah.
Kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous.
It's like the seasonal thing. It's like winter and spring is coming. You know that eventually the ticket prices are going to go up again.
Yeah, it's inevitable at this point, and it's like we're sticking with it. But it's like when's our limit? When's our breaking point? You know?
Yeah, and that's what I'm curious about. Is when are people gonna end up saying, "F this! I don't want to deal with this anymore. This is ridiculous. I don't want to pay these crazy prices."
I think it's when I was just thinking about this a second ago. I think it's when you can no longer say it's worth it if I go once a month. You know?
You know what? You are 100% correct.
Right now,
you don't.
Yeah, right now the top pass, it's getting very, very close to the point where if you go once a month, it's like the same as buying a ticket once a month. You know?
And that's ridiculously expensive. I mean, like a lot of people who can afford that, they're gonna keep buying it.
Yeah.
But I do think that there are a majority of people who buy Disney passes because they find it conveniently like affordable as like a night out to go just do something and things like that. You know, like any other theme park goer who can go to any other theme park, Disney is the place to go hang out, go on rides, go on a date, things like that. Easy to do. Yeah. So it really bums me out to know that people are getting priced out. And there is a limit, because I completely understand that this is a business. They're out to make money. That is the name of the game. Completely okay with that. But when you have a theme park that essentially hasn't added, until Star Wars Land, anything massive since what? Like Indiana Jones, essentially? I may be wrong. I'm just throwing out or Cars Land. Yeah. Cars Land was the last that's in California Adventure. I'm mainly talking about Disneyland. In Disneyland, the main attraction, Indiana Jones maybe was the last like major e-ticket attraction being added to Disneyland.
I think so. That was forever ago.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I'm not talking brand new e-ticket attraction. I'm not saying like the submarines that are brought back or something.
Yeah.
Brand new from the ground up e-ticket attraction.
Yeah.
It's been that long.
I mean, honestly, they're just prepping for Star Wars. I think they're trying to weed out a few people, you know, like price out a few people. And because, I mean, the park's at capacity like all the time.
And I mean, like, if that's the case, then why aren't they taking the Universal route, where Universal essentially didn't touch their ticket prices until Hogsmeade opened, essentially, and then they bumped their ticket prices and got ready for it, like when that happened.
Yeah.
Instead of bumping it 3 to 4 times each year for no good reason. I mean, yes, they redid Tower of Terror as Guardians. Now they're redoing the unnecessary redesign of Paradise Pier to Pixar Pier, and then they're doing Galaxy's Edge over there. I mean, I honestly don't think that's really worth how many times they've increased the ticket price.
It's not. And honestly, I think it's just because they can.
I also think, like you said, they're probably weeding out people just to kind of lessen the crowds, because it's come down to the point where you don't get a good day at Disneyland that often anymore unless you go at opening.
Yeah, we usually leave by 11 because that's when it starts to get crowded. We can't handle it after that. But you know what? Disney made its own problem with the season pass system in the first place. That's why it's so full all the time. It's because of pass holders. So they shot themselves in the foot with that one, and now they're trying to fix it. They're trying to deal with it. They're trying to make the park less crowded on a daily basis for people that are buying, you know, a vacation package where they're only there for a week or something, you know, and it's just getting crazy.
Yeah, and just to, you know, and I know a lot of people have a lot of really different opinions on this. This is purely just our opinion and what we talk about outside of the show when we're just like in the car or whatever it may be. This is just our opinion. But to give people some reference to the prices that Disney is charging compared to other theme parks in the area, I wrote down some numbers so that people can get a sense of like how bad the ticket prices at Disney are getting compared to everything else that you can get. So at Disneyland, the new ticket prices for a one-day, one park for a value ticket is $97. A regular ticket is $117, and then on the peak days, it's $135. For a one-day park hopper, a value is $147. For a regular, it's $167, and then for peak, it's $185.
Which there again, it's like
they're trying to get people to go the days that aren't as crowded.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's completely fine. I mean, I don't have an issue with demand pricing.
No, that's
totally
fine. That's fine.
That doesn't bother me.
Especially because we have a pass, we don't care. But
yeah, the pass makes us not care. I mean, for people who are visiting, that kind of sucks. You would basically have to have like a major vacation to come in the middle of the week in order to get a good ticket price.
But even just the $80 to $90 price range for one park, even that I think is pretty crazy. It's
a little nuts. Yeah. I honestly don't think California Adventure is worth that amount extra to get into the next park.
No.
I really don't. I think there should be 2 separate tickets for California and DCA. Like if you just want to go to DCA, you don't have to get the park hopper. Because you're essentially having to pay for Disneyland just to get into DCA.
You can get into California Adventure on its own.
I did not see a ticket price for that, but there must be. Yeah, you're right. There must be.
Yeah.
I'm probably wrong.
Yeah.
That's fine. And then moving on, the pass prices that got increased. We have the SoCal, which is the lowest, which is $360. I don't know if it's a 7 or a 9. I wrote it really bad.
It's okay. It's
$369. It's $18.50 a month. Deluxe is $729, which is $48.50 a month. Signature is $9.99, which which is $71 a month. Signature Plus is $1,149, which is $83.50 a month. Then you have your Premier Pass, which you actually have to pay all up front, which is I think I just wrote that bad. $1,579.
But if you're planning to go to Orlando, that was actually
really good,
worth it.
Really good. But you have to know that you're going to have to You have to go down after that. You can't stay at that.
Yeah.
Every year, that much money.
Yeah.
That's like over $3,000 each year for us to do that if we wanted to do that.
Well, no, we're not going to every year, but...
But now I want to. Now you said it, now I want to.
But if you're planning a big trip to Orlando, like a few weeks, totally worth it.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So going down the street just a little bit, Knott's Berry Farm, tremendous value for one day as low as $43, but at the gate it's $79. Online you can buy any day ticket, so it doesn't matter what day you go, it's going to be $79, so it doesn't range anything, it doesn't change. And then a regular pass is $94, which is $15.66 a month. Sometimes they have deals where you're only paying like $7 a month for a pass, which is ridiculous.
It's only like 9 months. It's not like, because we have a pass and we pay $9, but only for like 9 months.
No, it's full 12. It's weird because it's not a regular season pass where it's like, if I buy mine in February, it's all the way to February. If you buy yours in February, it ends December 31st. That's when it ends. It's not the full year you're getting the season. That's why it's called that or something. It's weird.
That's not what I was saying at all.
I know, but I'm saying that that's what it is. It isn't. You don't just get 9 months. You don't just get 9 months.
No,
you get the 12 months if you buy it in January.
Yes, I agree. That's not what I was saying. I was saying it's like if you do the payment plan, you pay it off before you hit the 12 months.
Oh, I thought you said that you only get it for 9 months. I'm like, that's not right at all. You're wrong.
You're wrong. You were the very wrong one.
I wasn't wrong. You're wrong.
Listen to my words.
You're wrong. I don't want to listen to you. What? What'd you say?
All I'm saying.
What?
All I'm saying is that the price is so cheap.
She's ignoring me.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that the price is so cheap that if you choose the payment plan, you don't even have to pay it for the full 12 months because you pay it off in like 8 or 9.
Oh no, completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally true. So, and then the Gold Pass is $113, which is $18.83 a month, which I believe that includes the water park across the street as well.
Yeah.
Then they also have the Platinum Pass for $216, which is $36 a month. So if you're looking at the two parks, you get $216 for a Platinum Pass, which includes a lot of discounts. I'm pretty sure it includes parking, includes the two parks. That's way less than the lowest pass for Disneyland.
Yep.
That's ridiculous. That's crazy. I mean, you can look at value and like comparison of the parks and what you're getting, yes, but I mean, something that to me, I'm equating the two like as equals.
We have just as good of a day at Knott's as we do at Disney.
We were at Knott's yesterday.
Yeah.
And we said to ourselves, we're having a better time here than we are at Disneyland.
Uh-huh.
And I said, I don't know why that is. And you said, it's because we're not stressing out. Like, what do you mean? Well, we don't have to worry about the crowds. We don't have to worry about getting here early. We don't have to worry about getting in line for something. It's a lot laid back, more laid back here than it is at Disneyland. I'm like, You're 100% right. I don't have to stress about getting on Mr. Toad or stupid Peter Pan in the morning than I do when I go to Knott's and I just kind of hang out and walk through Ghost Town and enjoy the environment, which is what Disney was supposed to be in the first place, instead of having to worry about getting in all the rides and stuff before the crowds get there. Moving on, Universal, which is in Los Angeles, which isn't too far away from Disney or Universal. I mean, Disney or Knott's. A one-day general is $105 to $116. A 2-day general is $129 to $159. A silver pass is $6 a month. A gold pass is $18 a month, which is the one we have.
Yep.
Then a platinum pass is $45 a month. Obviously, like all these things do include discounts that range and parking, and some don't include parking, and there's a whole bunch of different things that go with them. I just did not write them down.
Yeah.
Ours does include parking.
So $18 a month plus parking.
Plus parking.
Yeah. So that's a good deal.
Yeah, and that includes butterbeer.
Butterbeer!
The pass doesn't include butterbeer,
No,
but
butterbeer
you have
$8.
the opportunity to buy butterbeer when you buy this.
Which, that's all you need in life.
I mean, I'd rather have a deal where it's like, you know how Disney, when they're like, if you spend $50, you can buy a $20 blanket. I'd rather at Universal, like, if you spend $50, you can buy $2 butterbeer. Because I'd be like, yeah, dope. I'm buying a $2 butterbeer. I'm going to buy that anyway. Then moving on to the last part that I'm going to reference, which is Six Flags, which isn't too far as well. A one-day admission is $84.99. A one-day select admission dates can be as low as $59.99. For the season passes, a one park is $84.99. A two park is $139.99. Then the upgraded two park is $179.99. The gold is $116.99, and then the two park gold is $269.99.
And that's an even better deal when you think that the park's open all year now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like if you add, so if we get the Universal Platinum at $49 a month, if we get the two part gold at Six Flags for $269.99 total, we get the Platinum Pass at Knott's. You're still paying less money
than we pay for our Disney Pass.
We pay for our Disney Pass, but also less for the Premier Pass.
Yeah. Or
less for their Signature Plus, which I'm getting 3 different theme parks.
Yeah.
Which also includes 2 other water parks. In comparison to just
5
2
parks.
Theme parks. Yeah.
5 parks for the price of 2 at Disneyland.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But like I said, it just depends on like what people want and what they're looking to get out of their vacations.
Obviously, people love Disney.
Like sometimes I think that people's love for Disney trumps any logical
people will go broke
thought.
for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It trumps any logical thought because it's like, I don't care that it's this much money. I'm just gonna buy it because I like Disney.
Yeah.
Like there are people who go and who have like really special memories there and go there with their family and all these things, and I completely understand that you don't want to get rid of that. I'm talking about the people who just don't give a crap what their life has going for them. It's like, I don't care. Disney buying. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. But I mean, to each their own. I'm not gonna brag so hard on somebody who loves something so much. If you look at this room, I love something very much.
We have passes too, so you know,
we have passes, so we're kind of falling within those lines as well. Yeah. But you know, when it comes down to the time where we're like, I don't know if we could really afford this anymore.
It might become a one-a-year thing.
It might become a one-a-year thing.
Yeah, one time a year.
And we'll buy Max Pass finally.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, they're selling a hat over at the Mercantile in Frontierland that says something about like, can we Fast Pass Plus to Friday?
Yeah.
Like, 1, it's Max Pass. 2, we're in Disneyland. No. And then why are you selling merchandise to promote other merchandise? It's like a product inception.
Plus, it's just stupid because you can only wear it Monday through Thursday. And if you wear it on Thursday, you just look dumb.
I didn't even think about that. It's like if you had underwear with the days of the week on them, you couldn't wear them on any other day because people would judge you.
Well, no one's seeing your underwear.
So you don't know that I'm wearing Thursday's underwear on Sunday.
That's fine. I don't care. I don't care about underwear, but seriously, if you're wearing that hat on like a Thursday or a Saturday or Sunday, you just look stupid. Or a Friday. God forbid you wear it on a Friday.
Well, then you Fast Pass Plus to Friday. Then it's great.
Oh, then you just walk around being like it worked!
It worked, guys. It worked. I'm from the past.
I'm from Monday.
I traveled through time with this hat. Anyway, Nikki's so entertained by this concept. Anyway, moving forward, let's jump into our main segment of this episode, which is a fantastic trip through Ghost Town at Knott's Berry Farm with our great friend Jeff Tucker from 91 Reasons, which, by the way, check out his podcast, 91 Reasons. It's fantastic. Also, check out his books. But we took a great tour through Ghost Town, and Jeff was able to point out all the historical significance of Ghost Town and a lot of pieces of really cool history that you wouldn't know just walking through, and what buildings are original, what signs are original from the 1940s. Like, it's ridiculous. Like people like us, we love Knott's.
Yeah.
We go there so often. But now that I know the things that he told us, I'm never going to take for granted things in Ghost Town.
Yeah.
And also now I have a whole nother appreciation for its history and the buildings and even the minor details of each building. So it's really nice to know the information, and now we get to share it with all of you.
Yeah.
So let's waste no more time. Let's head in to Knott's Berry Farm in Ghost Town and learn all about that awesome land.
That land?
That's totally
That
fine.
land? Ghost Town land?
Ghost Town land.
I'm
Learn about
never
Ghost Town
letting you
land.
live that down. You're gonna edit it out, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
Don't do it. You leave in my stupid stuff. Leave in your stupid stuff too, please.
Fine.
Yay.
Learn about Ghost Town.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Land.
Okay, so we're here in the heart of Ghost Town with our friend Jeff Tucker, who is a writer here at Knott's Berry Farm.
I am the show writer here at Knott's Berry Farm. Yes, it's very exciting.
And we're going to be taking a little tour around Ghost Town. There's a lot of history here in Ghost Town that a lot of people, I don't think, really know.
No, Ghost Town used to be the epicenter of Knott's Berry Farm, and now what it is it's what you run through to get to the rides. It's some people, the diehards, you can come to Ghost Town and not leave Ghost Town all day. And it's weird, like, when I was a kid, my mother used to bring us to Knott's Berry Farm all the time, right? Yeah. And the thing was, she liked the antique shopping here, because they used to have two or three shops that only sold literally antiques. Disneyland had one too.
Yeah.
The Le Baton Rouge store used to be the one-of-a-kind shop that actually sold antiques. And Knott's Berry Farm had a bunch of shops here that sold, they had people that would go around the country and buy antique items and bring them here, and my mother would buy them, right? Not theme park stuff, but like going to the Orange Circle. It's very bizarre.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't complain because my mother liked Knott's Berry Farm a lot more than Disneyland. We came here, we went to Disneyland, we were the most families, we went once a year to Disneyland. Yeah. But Knott's, we went 5 or 6 times. We would come for the chicken dinner, and we would then come in the park. And here's the thing, I would go on Berry Tales, and I really liked Gasoline Alley, which was this car ride we had in the far corner, right? But other than that, I would spend the whole day just in Ghost Town, because it seemed like, and it's true, there's places you can actually get lost here, because we're standing at the front of the park here, and when you look at Disneyland and you can see that they had this idea of Main Street going to the hub, and the hub branching off to all the different parts of the park. It's laid out very methodically, right? The only hit to that is when they added Bear Country and sort of stuck it on the end, and now they're adding Galaxy's Edge and they're sticking that on the edge, right? But for the most part, Disneyland was made with a master plan. Knott's has none of that. Knott's was made whatever land Walter could afford, they bought, and that's where the park grew. So when you see guests lost here, I always tell them, it's okay. Getting lost here is, we have dead ends, we have avenues that don't go anywhere. I think it's ridiculous. You go down to Ghost Rider, and if you don't ride Ghost Rider, that's it.
You get pizza though.
Yeah, but I mean it doesn't go anywhere. You have to come right back the same way you came. So Disneyland doesn't have a lot of that, but Knott's has an abundance of it.
But I think it gives it charm.
No, it gives it total charm because it was made by handcrafted by a guy who was not in the theme park business. He brought in Bud Hurlbut later to bring in some rides, but other than building a theme park, he had no idea what he was doing. He was just, and I mean, everybody knows the story. They started off selling berries. They lucked into the boysenberry by total accident. The boysenberry became popular, so people on their way to Huntington Beach would stop here to get a berry, to take to a basket of berries to take to the beach. And then one day, Cordelia decides to serve. They open a tea room, and the people who came to the tea room said, "We're looking for lunch." So Cordelia goes in the back and makes chicken on her wedding china and serves it up. I think it was about 75 cents or so that day. And word gets out that the chicken's amazing. So then they build a chicken dinner restaurant. Well, that's great, except the line is 6 hours long.
Down Beach Boulevard.
It goes all the way down Beach Boulevard. The lines are amazing because everybody's in their Sunday finest, with fedoras and bonnets and white gloves, and they're all waiting to get their dinner. And eventually they had this number system, and then they had a loudspeaker, and then finally Walter says, we have to entertain these people because they're not going to wait 6 hours. People are going to end up going somewhere else, right? So that's where Ghost Town is born, because Walter was really into the pioneer spirit of coming to California, having nothing, which is how he started, and building a life. So Ghost Town became his tribute to those pioneers, and some of the buildings were brought in real. A lot of them were replicas of buildings that he bought. He brought in Paul von Kleben to sort of art design Ghost Town. He brought in Claude Bell to build the statues, and then Claude Bell eventually went and had his own dream out in the desert, which you know, right?
There's a ghost town out there as well.
No,
right?
the Cabazon dinosaurs.
Oh, I didn't know that he did that.
Oh yeah, no, Claude Bell, the guy who did Handsome Brady and Whiskey Bill.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He left and built the Cabazon dinosaurs, which everybody knows from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure, you know that, right?
If you go there now, it's a complete train wreck because it's owned by devout Christians who use it as a way to teach that dinosaurs were real, but they also were the time of man. So that's where we got the legend of dragons from. So they have knights and like World War II guys fighting dinosaurs.
That's pretty awesome. I don't know what you're talking about. That sounds great.
It's fantastic. I took my kids and I said, look, we're just here to have fun. Don't learn anything.
This is the one time I'm literally
right. But you can go all the way up to the mouth of the T-Rex, just like in Pee-wee. You can't lay there. It's not that big. But as a fan of that movie, like we were there right before they tore down the restaurant, because the restaurant's right next door where he talks about, Large Marge sent me. Yeah. So I love all that, right? But that was Claude Bell, right? So Walter brought in these two guys, Claude Bell, Paul von Kleben, and then Bud Hurlbut was like the magic ingredient to create the park that we're in. And there's all
mine ride, right?
Right, there's all this history here, like right in front of you. But most guests, like I said, they just go right past it.
Which makes me really sad because it's a lot of things that deserve to be talked about and deserve to be noticed.
Yeah, so we'll just you and I, we're just going to take a walk here.
Yeah, we're just going to walk down Ghost Town.
We're going to walk down Ghost Town, and I'm pointing out
the buildings.
I'm going to do a disclaimer.
Okay.
Because a lot of people who listen to your show are huge Knott's Berry Farm fans. I got my information from the old timers that worked here. I started in '94. I was trained in the jail by a guy named Ralph who was 85. I was 23 when I started.
Old Ralph told me.
22. I was 22. Old Ralph taught me how to do the jail. So I also have some booklets that were used by the educational department that were put together by Walter, and so they were hand typed by the family. So that being said, the years that I give, they may be wrong.
That's fine.
Because everybody's got their own Knott's Berry Farm lore and history. So if what you heard is different, you just heard it from somebody else. You know what I mean?
Also, he's saying that don't get mad at me.
Yeah, don't get mad if I get it wrong. The spirit of adventure is here, even if my facts are different than your facts.
Yes.
Even if you have alternative facts.
The stories are relatively.
Because what I did was I wrote down dates of where all the buildings were built. Because that's from the Walter Knott booklet that I have. So looking across the way there, that's the wagon camp.
Yeah. So right now we're standing at the main entrance to Ghost Town. We're right next to the assay office, right next to the post that has all the signs of where to go. Across the way, like you said, from the little two statues on the bench.
Handsome Brady and Whiskey Bill, right? So looking at the wagon camp, 1949 it was built. So most of Ghost Town was built between 40 and 42. So the wagon camp came pretty late.
Yeah.
And that's where they decided to have Saturday night fiddle playing and square dancing and that kind of stuff. But we're going to move into Ghost Town proper here. So right across the way here, that's Handsome Brady and Whiskey Bill, made by Claude Bell in, I have the date, 1947.
That's how old those guys are?
Yes, 1947.
They look good.
Yes.
Yeah, they aged well for them.
The coolest story from them is we had a group come in the 50s from Eastman Kodak. Mm-hmm. And this is back when your pictures weren't developed at the grocery store or the drugstore. They were sent to Kodak for developing. Yeah. All the developing was done in one or two locations around the country, right? So when the ladies from Kodak came, they started screaming because these two were at the time the most photographed item that they had ever seen come through the lab.
Oh, wow. Really?
Every other roll of film was a picture of Handsome Brady and Whiskey Bill. And to them, they were celebrities. Like, how funny is that? You know what I mean? Now with digital film, that's all out the window. Okay, so the building that they're in front of is the Gold Trails Hotel. It's a replica. It was rebuilt in around 97, but it was a replica of a building from I can't think of the town in Arizona.
Calico.
It's from Arizona, and it was from where Walter Knott's grandparents came from when they made the journey. So it was his first sort of tribute to them. And when it opened, do I have it when the hotel opened? I don't think I do. When the hotel opened, it housed the Covered Wagon Show, which I actually worked in 94. Summer of 94, I worked the Covered Wagon Show. And it's weird to think like that building housed the first theme park show ever.
That's insane.
There were amusement parks before that, and there were magic shows and dance shows, but Knott's was the first themed amusement park, and that building housed the first theme show. It's weird. Like, when I worked there, people would come in and they'd go, "What is this?" And I go, "Oh, it's a Covered Wagon Show. It's the story of Walter Knott's grandparents and how they came to California, right?" And under the counter, now here's the thing. Do you remember at the end of Main Street at Disneyland, back in the early 80s?
I was born in 89, FYI.
Oh, my God. So, you know where the photo shop is now, where you can get all your prints, made, right? That used to be the Welcome Center. And you could go in there and you could sign in and register, which meant that they would bring out this big book. And you would physically write Jeffrey Tucker and my address when I grew up, 14017 Studebaker Road, Norwalk, California, right? And you felt like, I'm registered at Disneyland. Well, what that was a mailing list. Right? So Knott's had the same thing, right? So in the Covered Wagon Show in 94, there's nobody coming in. I worked there for 3 hours a day, and then I did the Chapel by the Lake show, which nobody came to see. So I'm in there for like 2.5 hours by myself. Under the counter are all those books.
That's awesome.
And so I started looking through them. All these celebrity signatures, the entire Knott family signature in there. I don't know where those books went, but thankfully they were not in the auction last year. Okay. But they're around somewhere. Okay, so that's the Gold Trails Hotel. Okay. We're looking at the assay office. We'll walk down here. Okay, so most of this whole row was built in 1940. These are all replicas.
Okay.
You know, the buildings that were put up in 1940, Walter had no idea they were going to be here this long.
Yeah.
So the idea that they built them forever, not going to happen. They had to be rebuilt. So what happened was walls would go up, they would tear the building down and then rebuild it, and then like 5 days later the wall would come down and nobody but had any idea that they'd been replaced. Yeah. But they were they were termite ridden, they were old. A lot of them was built with wood from the Old West. Like, they weren't made to last, right? But thankfully, they're still here. This is a Hopwing Lee, the Chinese laundry.
And he's not in there right now.
No, none of the figures are in there, because since they started doing Ghost Town Alive, the buildings came to life. Other than the Chinese laundry, you could go into a lot of these buildings for the first time ever. Now, as a kid, I only dreamed of that.
Yeah.
I dreamed of it. I actually went in the laundry about 6 years ago, and I was like 10 years old in an instant.
Flabbergasted.
I'm in there. I took a selfie with Hopwing Lee, right? So when they did Ghost Town Alive and the buildings came to life, it was deemed like, well, why would we put these mannequins back in if we brought Ghost Town to life? So that's when they put in the sound effects of somebody, like, they're just out of reach. You know, Hopwing Lee went on vacation, but like the assay office, if you listen, he's back there. You just don't see him. The sheriff guys, the marshal, he's back there. You just don't see them. And I know that some of the diehards got really upset about the figures now. Now, they're all still here. They didn't sell them. They didn't get rid of them. Who knows? One day they may come back. I don't know, but that's not my call.
Yeah.
You know, so This is the Chinese Laundry, the barber shop, all from 1940. Silver Dollar Saloon from 1940. It's now a shooting gallery.
That's fun. Cool.
But when I started in '94, it was still a saloon, a little tiny saloon, and this is how times have changed. My first job was in the jail. We'll go down there in a little bit.
Yeah.
But one day I'm working in the jail, and my boss comes to me, Marshall Max, and he goes, "I'm going to put you in the saloon on the weekend." I said, "Oh, cool." He goes, "You should probably learn the register or something." And he walked away. There was no register class. There was no nobody to train. So on my lunch break from the jail, I would go over to the saloon, and there was a guy named Julian who worked there, and Julian would teach me how to work the register. It was such a long time ago that Julian kept a whole stack of disposable cameras behind the counter, so that if a pretty girl came in, he could get her picture. Isn't that hilarious? And the Silver Dollar Saloon was named that because the bar had actual silver dollars from the 1800s embedded in the bar. It was a really fun place to work. There were days where I would work there 8 hours and never see a guest.
That's crazy.
Because people don't even know you're there, right? So it's just
Kinda tucked
weird.
in the back a little bit.
Yeah. So, picture gallery, blacksmith. The blacksmith shop has never been rebuilt. That is an original building.
Wow.
It was an original blacksmith shop in Orange County. They brought it here in 1940, I believe. Yeah, 1940. Wow. So it's permanent.
So what's the difference between that one and the other ones that had to get rebuilt? That one just stood the test of time?
Yeah, I don't think you mess with it, and I'll tell you why. You see the all the brands on the wall on the building, on the actual side of the building?
Yeah.
That's not decorative. That serves a purpose. And the purpose is, in the Old West, you would buy a brand to brand your cattle, so no one could claim that your cattle was theirs. Well, when they finished the brand, they would brand the side of the building, so that's your brand. So when somebody comes and tries to buy one, they go, "Oh no, we've already made that one. You know, the G brand has already been made. Let's make you a different one." So there's a lot of history in that building. That's probably why it's still the way. And you can totally tell the differences between real weathering and artificial weathering.
Oh yeah.
Right?
100%.
Okay, so let's move on down here. So we're walking through Ghost Town here. This is the barber shop. One-Eyed Ike. It used to show a tableau of, you'd see One-Eyed Ike and the wanted poster winks at you.
It still does.
Yeah, it still winks. It used to be that the barber had One-Eyed Ike in the chair.
Yeah.
And the idea was, does he risk slitting the guy's throat to get the reward or let him go? And that's the actual wording from the Walter Knott book is, does he slit his throat and get the reward? I always love that.
The Old West.
Yeah, I always love that.
Passing by the Silver Dollar Saloon here where the shooting gallery is. Walking past the picture gallery, making our way past the General Blacksmith, and now we're by the Ghost Town Grill, which is actually a pretty fabulous place to eat dinner on the evenings, especially during Haunt. We love to eat dinner.
Oh, the grill's the best.
Eating dinner on Ghost Town Grill on a night at Haunt is just simply perfect.
It's our favorite thing to do.
Yeah, you sit down and then you watch people get scared really bad. One time a kid tried to jump over and onto our table.
Oh, really?
It was fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome. There's no charge for that.
No, it's free entertainment during dinner. And then also, we saw these group of like maybe 7, 8-year-olds walking through like in a line.
With like
one adult on either end of the line. Monsters slid by them, scattered like cockroaches when the lights turned on.
Nice.
The
It was
adults,
phenomenal.
the look of fear in the adults' eyes, like, how are we ever going to find them?
How are we going to gather up all the kids? It's fantastic.
So the grill is interesting because Walter had this crazy idea where the grill and the steakhouse, which is now Spurs, it was originally the Knott Steakhouse, that it was Big Jake's Steakhouse
I never knew that.
for John Wayne. Walter was good friends with John Wayne. There was a lot of, in the 70s, there was a lot of John Wayne here. I mean, John Wayne was the first guy to ride the log ride, him and his son.
Yeah.
But the thing between the Ghost Town Grill and the steakhouse is that they share the same kitchen.
Oh.
I did not know that.
So that was revolutionary. Don't build 2 kitchens. Build one and make it so that both restaurants can use the same kitchen. No one had ever thought of that, I don't think. So Walter had some really amazing ideas. So nobody ever comes over here. This is the apothecary. This is the drugstore. It was built in 1940 with the rest of most of Ghost Town. Everything you see in the window is accurate from the time period, real stuff, real drugs and stuff.
That's really cool. There's a whole bunch of really cool things in here.
Yeah, it's one of those little pecans nobody really ever looks at.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of stuck on the other building.
It's much smaller than most of the pecans.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not big at all.
I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever looked in these.
You never looked in there, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think I have like once or twice just by walking by, more or less, but never really stood by it. I mean, there's this little sign on Humphrey's Remedies 4, and then it has everything that's on there: fevers, worms, teething, diarrhea, dysentery, cholera, coughs. That's kind of fun.
And then the building that it's attached to is now the Calico dress shop for Ghost Town Alive. But originally it was the print shop, where you could come in here and you could buy a greeting card, or the big draw was they would make your own newspaper with your own headline.
Oh, that's fun. I wish they still did that. That's super fun. They should do that for Ghost Town Alive.
And they would put papers everywhere with all these headlines. Shirley comes to Knott's, leaves as a cowgirl, that sort of thing. I mean, it was really fun. They would print it right for you with these big blocks. They'd slam it down on the printing press, and that lasted probably until 97 or 98, because after the print shop, it became the teddy bear shop. And they sold teddy bears in here, and then it became then it became Miss Doolittle's craft shop, and the print shop was actually moved to what used to be the craft barn, which is now the actual livery barn. But just shows, I mean, things move around, right?
Yeah.
So that's old Betsy the Borax mine train.
Yeah.
That was brought here in 1941. So Ghost Town really shows up 1940, and by 42 and 43. The place is mobbed. If you've seen the pictures, again, everybody's in their Sunday finest, walking around here waiting to be called for their chicken dinner, right?
Yeah.
And how many generations have taken their picture on that train?
A lot. I mean, my parents know that train.
Everybody did,
Everyone
right?
knows that train, yeah.
It's amazing.
I think it's really fun when theme park has stood the test of time that long that so many generations do have photos in the same exact spot, because you can't really say too much about Disneyland because it has changed a lot. This area of Ghost Town,
almost completely unchanged.
It's almost completely unchanged, so it's really cool to see exactly how it used to look.
Have you ever seen that amazing picture of that couple out of Florida?
No.
That Disney World, where it's like her and her dad, and in the background is the guy that she marries.
Yes, I've heard of that.
Isn't that fantastic?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, let's go over here real quick. We're between the sheriff's office and the Calico dress shop, the print shop, and for whatever reason, when I was a kid, this was magical to me. I don't know why, but there used to be right here. There used to be a wooden bar of soap in this soap dish that was attached to it, and it said soap on it, and then this had water in it, and you could come here and pretend to wash your hands and then dry them on the towel. 100 others use the towel, and you're the first one to care. I have no idea what that means, but you can see the Bandito sign is typical of what the print shop used to make. They would put your name in that.
Is that what it would look like?
That was one of the wanted posters, not the headline, but that's the wanted poster,
that's
right?
Cool though. They should so make those.
Yeah, they were really cool, right?
Yeah.
And then, but there was something about being a kid in Ghost Town, and my mother would give me like $5, so I would go to the general store and buy that really thin licorice, because you get a lot of it for $5, right? And I would eat that licorice all day, and I would just like transport myself. And that was the coolest thing about Knott's Berry Farm, where that these little corners were for a kid. Nobody else exists.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm washing my hands like a cowboy, whatever that means, and you could hear the people playing cards next door.
I think that one of the great things about Knott's Berry Farm in general is that as opposed to going to like Disneyland and going on Peter Pan and seeing Peter Pan, you're using your imagination, and that's what kids love. They get to use their hands, use their imagination. That's what being a kid's all about. And I think that's what makes it so special.
It's kind of what Ghost Town Alive is doing now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then even just any other celebration that Knott's starting to do now, there's always some type of hands-on thing that kids get to do, like the creepy crawlies during Spooky Farm. And
yeah, well,
like
the amazing thing about Ghost Town Alive, and I think we've talked about it before, is that a few dozen parents brought their autistic children here who had never spoken a word. And by the end of the summer, they were talking because they were able to live the fantasy and the word I've heard is unlock. They unlock their brain somehow. I mean, that's. I mean, no one had even considered that. I mean, I've seen Ken Parks, the guy who masterminded this thing. I mean, he's cried, reduced to tears, thinking of the way they've helped these families find their children. I mean, that's amazing to me, you know. So this is the sheriff's office. You can see more of the signs here. This is interesting to note. This notice here, it says the stagecoach is 5 days late. This is an original sign from the 40s, and I can tell you why I know that. Walter was looking through old cemeteries in the Old West, right, Boot Hill, and he noticed that the tombstones, the markers, were made out of wood. And what they would do is they would paint on the wood in really thick black paint, or in this case, the white paint, right? Yeah. And then they would sandblast it for a second, and the paint would then be raised. Oh. So Walter loved that. For some reason, just thought that was the greatest thing ever. So if you see a sign like this, where it's obvious that the paint has been, and you can see the paint is raised, that's an original. Oh. That's an original from the 40s. Like that Sad-Eye Joe sign? Yeah. I mean, you can totally tell that's original.
Oh, yeah.
Same with the one over here. Check it out over here. This is one right here.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Right?
That's so cool.
This sign here, like they sold that Deadeye Dick one, Deadwood Dick. Yeah. What did that sell for? $3,000 or something at the auction? This is a $3,000 sign or more. This is an original, handcrafted by Walter and his team to give flavor to the tent. And for some reason, Walter just loved this raised effect. So anytime you see those, that's a Walter Knott special.
Wow.
Well, that's cool. I mean, even like this one, the Ghost Town Jail. Yeah. I mean, that one too.
Same with, you can also tell because of the nails. These are authentic Old West nails.
They're not.
If they did that today, they wouldn't even know where to get these today. They wouldn't look like that.
Make them.
Right. Okay. So we're at the jail. Right. This is the Sad-Eye Joe jail. At one time, Ghost Town's most famous resident, because you could go and talk to him. As a kid, I was mesmerized, and I could hear my stepdad talking to the guy in the booth, but it sounded like he was coming from back there. So I was like, how did he get back there? What's he doing back there? But everybody loves the jail. This was my first job here at Knott's Berry Farm, 1994 summer. I spent the whole summer talking on the microphone. Greatest job I ever had at that time, because I was like, I'm getting paid to improv, right?
Yeah.
Here's some fun facts right here. There's Sad-Eye Joe himself. See these bars? These bars serve a purpose, and it's not to keep him in. It's to keep guests from climbing in the window. Because when they first opened it, everybody wanted to see how it was done, so they would climb in the window. And they also tell you, did you get the speech not to put your arm up here? No, I don't know. You don't put your arm up on the counter. You have to put it behind. Because two ladies had a debate whether the guy in this window was real. And to prove it, they stabbed him in the arm. This is back in the 80s.
I never got that. No.
Boink. Yeah. Guess what? He's real.
Crazy.
So that's the jail. It's connected to Goldie's. Now this is great. I mean, this shows you that
this is funny to me.
This shows you that Walter was into authenticity, right? Do you want to explain what Goldie's is?
Goldie's is a whorehouse, pretty much.
It's a brothel.
It's a brothel.
Yeah. There's a leg out front.
Yeah, it's a leg sticking out that usually swings back and forth, enticing men in. Since the room's really big, Goldie's place right on top. So, pretty sure they used to have before Ghost Town Alive, they had her in.
Goldie was sitting right there, a very refined, upscale woman she had a wad of cash in her hand. And here's the thing, to work the jail, you go in through Goldie's.
Oh, really?
So I would use the key to go in through, and every once in a while, not all the time, but every once in a while you'd get someone here would go, oh my God, where is he going? Just go next door. Just go next door. Yeah, Goldie's, man.
That's fantastic. And is this building a replica as well? Or
this was rebuilt. I'm trying to think of when. Late 90s, I think it was rebuilt. They tore the whole thing down and put it back exactly, but you can't even tell that it's a different building.
No, I think they did a fantastic job.
And I know that because when it was torn down, I had to take a peek. So I took a peek. I didn't go into the construction zone because we're not allowed. But on the edges, there were old soda cups from the early 80s because they'd been, if you set it there and it falls where you can't reach it, it's there forever.
Yeah.
So there were these old remember, they're Pepsi cups. We haven't been a Pepsi park since forever, right?
Yeah.
So all that hidden history, I love that.
And
okay.
then the good old Walter Knott special, the Fun Bun, been here for a good 8 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
That was his nickname for Cordelia. He called her the Fun Bun. Okay, so that's the general store over there. It was put there in 1944. When it first opened, Walter used to go around to old general stores around the country, and he would ask them how much for everything.
Oh, geez, really?
And he would buy it all. And he'd put it in the general store. So when it opened, you could see pictures of when it opened. And they have like shoes, boxes of nails, like nothing touristy.
Store.
It was just junk, right? And I know that because above the Gold Trails Hotel, there's a storage area. It's mostly empty now because of that auction. But there used to be boxes of shoes, like old, like Wicked Witch of the West shoes, because that's what everybody wore back then.
Yeah.
And the feet were really tiny. And I asked where they were. Oh, that's from the general store. That's from Walter going around and buying it all.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the post office. I wrote down when the post office opened. 42, and it was the actual post office. You could mail letters. It was actually operated. They would take the mail to the post office and mail it for you.
Did they do any stamps on it? Like from
I don't.
something
Well,
like that?
they might have. It was mostly you bought these elaborate pieces of mail that like, hey, I'm having a great time in Ghost Town. Where are you? And you'd mail that out. That was where it came from.
Gotcha.
Okay, so let's walk through here.
To me, this big. What would you call that, Nikki?
Windmill?
A windmill? Is it a windmill? Like, to me, that's very iconic to Ghost Town.
Yeah, well, the windmill's there because that used to be where Ghost Town ended.
Oh, this was it.
This was the end right here. Anything to the left of us was a parking lot. And I've seen pictures where the Packards and the old 40s cars are parked right up here. Because that's you got out, you walk through Ghost Town to the chicken dinner restaurant, put your name in, and then walked around. I mean, it literally ended here. It's hard to believe, right?
Smell your face right there.
Yes, that's the world famous Noel Cox,
Yes.
artist to the stars.
Apparently.
And then just to the left of the windmill,
Famous Catawampus.
the Catawampus, one of the last Woodable.
Woodables.
The Woodable came about when they had an artist here who would look at pieces of wood and turn them into animals. And so across the street, they built Jungle Island, 25 cents, and you could do this little walkthrough to see all these Woodables. I did it one time. It was like, not my thing.
Laughable.
Yeah, not my thing.
Yeah.
But of course, the Catawampus has gotten famous over the years.
Yeah, and then now you guys have your own.
There's a Kitty
social
Wampus,
club.
and there's
Kitty Wampus and a social club.
There's a
now
Catawampus
dedicated.
social club where you wear a vest and you're part of the family. I mean, it's hysterical,
Yeah.
right?
Is the Kitty Wampus is new though, correct? So the Kitty
Yeah.
Wampus is just
Kitty Wampus is brand new from last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that it was hiding all over Ghost Town pretty much until it finally showed up right next to
Yeah, well, what happened was they took the Catawampus out and they broke the fence to make it look like he escaped. And the funny part is that we'd get like a call a week of maintenance going, we're here to fix that fence. No.
It's like sod.
We did it on purpose.
Yeah.
It's like, but they didn't know that, and they were always trying to fix it. So there's all these little hidden things around Ghost Town, right? If you see that building there,
Yes.
it's totally closed up. It's next to the jail. But at one time, that was a Pendleton blanket shop. Like they opened the doors and they sold blankets. And then for a while, it was used by the tours. It was full of dinosaur bones. They would open the door, take the school kids in.
I remember seeing
Yeah.
signs. I remember we walked by and I'm like, that's weird. There's dinosaur stuff in there.
So then, next to the jail, there's an outhouse, right? That's from like 1941 or 42. And when I worked in the jail, there was a guy in that, like, sitting on the bowl, right? And he had a soundtrack that would play all day, talking to the guests outside, right? And he would go, like, you'd walk up and it would be timed so that it was a long bit of silence, and he'd go, well, what are you looking at? And people go, oh my gosh, he's talking to us. And he'd go, well, it must have been something that I ate. He's talking about why he's on the bathroom for so long. He'd go, He goes, I've been out on the range, and, and the coyotes are howling, and the wind, and the beans, and I'm just going to be here a while. And he'd go, now if you could just go over to the blacksmith, he's taking care of my horse, and you let him know I'm here, I'm waiting for the catalog. And forever, I had no idea what he's talking about. Why is he waiting for the catalog? Do you know why?
No.
Why?
They used to use the Sears catalog for toilet paper. Oh. So he's waiting for the catalog. And if you looked in and looked to the right or left, he had corn cobs next to him, because they used to use corn cobs as toilet paper. Yes. I mean, it was very authentic. And
it was.
And then as the years went on, during the 60s, I mean, Knott's was huge during the 60s. They changed it a little bit and just left it, and he would talk to you about you being a hippie and needing a haircut. So, I mean, and I only know that because I sat in the jail all day, and on quiet days, you could hear him I would just hear the whole soundtrack. Same with the sheriff's office, they're playing cards. I would know the whole stupid soundtrack. Same with Hopwing Lee. I memorized his song he would sing, right? Welcome to Ghost Town, right? Okay, so this is the gun shop. It's been the gun shop forever. Only place at Knott's for years you could buy cigarettes.
Really?
The gun shop, actually, I take it back. See, now you're jarring my memory.
I didn't do nothing.
It used to be the bonnet shop, and they sold gingham and calico dresses, and the gun shop was over where the magic shop is now. And I know that, let's get into the shade here. I know that because if you look at old maps from the late 70s and early 80s, that building there, which is now the magic shop, used to be the gun shop, and behind it, you could shoot archery for free. They had a full archery with like 6 targets. You'd walk in and you go, hi, I'd like to do archery. They'd give you the bow. They'd give you 5 or 6 arrows. And then if you gave them $1, they'd give you 18 arrows. So I would go back there and shoot archery. Like, how random is that, right?
Really
the coolest thing ever. And it was one of those things where I'm behind the building. I'm not with my parents. I am on my own in the Old West. I got a bow and arrow.
It's the imagination.
Oh, it's so much fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to send you a picture. I have a map that actually shows the archery range on it, right? So this is the toy shop, another one of those forgotten.
And there's
Peekins.
a statue in there. There's like a mannequin in there, isn't there?
Yeah, it's one of the last ones that's untouched.
That's not touched
So if you
for,
want to see an old Pekin, it's that one and the gun maker. I'll show you in a little bit. He's untouched too, right? So this is the Boot Hill Undertaker.
This is
This is one of my.
This is my favorite.
This is the best one of all time,
my
right?
favorite thing in Ghost Town, probably.
As a kid, we'd look in the window, and I'd be at once terrified and exhilarated because the guy turns from a dead guy into a skeleton.
Yeah, and it's a Pepper's Ghost effect.
It's Pepper's Ghost, oldest trick in the book, right? And here's the thing. This is maintained by Ghost Town. So when I started here, it was maintained by my boss, Marshall Max, who ran Ghost Town at the time. He ran Ghost Town with an iron fist. He was in charge. There was no doubt. Well, one time, he had this idea that he was going to train me to be Ghost Town 1. Now, it never happened.
What's Ghost Town 1?
Just take care of make sure everybody gets their breaks, take care of the buildings.
So like a lead.
Right.
Yeah.
So he took me in there. And I got to touch the skeleton and the guy.
That's
and
cool.
to me,
That's really
it was like being in the Haunted Mansion.
Oh, yeah.
I just was like, I'm in the building. Oh my God, I'm in the building. There's just something visceral about that, right? Something tangible about that.
Something about your childhood that you've seen your entire life and being able to actually...
To me, it's surprising how rare it is that employees get to go in these things. So it's not like... It's a rare opportunity.
Oh, yeah, no, they're locked up tight. Oh, yeah, no, you have to know who and who to talk to get in, right? So next door is the Birdcage Theater. Birdcage Theater opened in the 50s. Steve Martin got his start there. Steve Martin started at the Magic Shop at Disneyland, came over here, and the 2 guys who ran it were like, yeah, you can be the warm-up guy in between the melodramas. So this is where Steve Martin learned to juggle, learned to do stand-up comedy, learned to do what Steve Martin did was anti stand-up comedy. He did not want to be a stand-up comedian, so everything he did was anti, right? but you see pictures and it really is astounding. Dean Jones, you know who Dean Jones is?
No, I've never heard of that
He
name.
was in tons of Disney movies. He was in the Shaggy DA, and like the last big role he had was he's the villain in the first Beethoven, right? Dean Jones is huge Disney actor. He got his start here at the Birdcage Theater. The Birdcage Theater was, the facade is here. It's an exact duplicate of the one in Tombstone, Arizona. The interior is very close. It's not an exact one. That was meant to be temporary.
Really?
Never meant to last until 2018. It's amazing that it's still here. Yeah. It's one of my favorite buildings here because I've got to do haunt shows in there. And no, Tommy Tomb was in Boardwalk, wasn't in here.
You had the big stage.
I had the bigger stage. Yeah, we needed more people to upset. Okay, so next door to the Birdcage is the schoolhouse. Schoolhouse was in 1952. They brought it from Beloit, Kansas. And do you know why the schoolhouse is so darn impressive?
Why?
When they brought it here, it wasn't part of Ghost Town. It was a real schoolhouse.
Wait, really?
The employees brought their kids here and they went to school in that schoolhouse.
That's kind of nuts.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's pretty cool,
That's
right?
Really cool. That's not something that you hear every day at a theme park.
No. And here's the thing about the employees who came to Knott's Berry Farm. You know, there were Walter had concessions that were here. Like there was a guy who did the print shop. There was a guy who took old time photos. But there were a lot of like cowboys and, you know, people who just lived in Ghost Town. Walter didn't hire them. They just showed up.
Wait, what do you mean? How does that even work?
So, well, that's how times have changed, man. A guy shows up, he's got a cowboy hat on, he's got chaps, and he goes, Mr. Knott, I want to live in your ghost town. And Walter goes, welcome.
Oh my God.
And they work for tips.
That's crazy.
They would take a picture with a guest and get a tip. Yeah, but it was right here.
That's nuts.
And for a while, there was even like a boarding house here.
Really?
The Knott family operated a motel for employees.
I feel like they just did whatever they could.
It was like $3 a week,
crazy.
and you could live here. And actually, when I started here, a guy named Harvey Walker actually lived in those motel rooms. He would tell me about it. So it was the craziest thing you've ever heard of. But
Kinda crazy.
people were a lot of whack jobs heard about this place and just gravitated here, and they stayed. And that's the one thing about Knott's that's so original, is you think about Disneyland, think about Six Flags, whatever, right? They're corporate entities.
Oh, yeah.
You know, yes, Disneyland was made with love, no doubt. But at the end of the day, they were beholden to the bank. They had to make a certain amount. Knott's is just here.
It did what it wanted.
It did what it wanted. And the other thing is that Walter and Cordelia settled here in the 20s. They started a farm, they built a farmhouse, and they lived here until the day they died. On property. They didn't move to Irvine and shuttle back and forth, even though they had that kind of scratch. Walter died in a trailer back behind Wardrobe. And that's amazing, right? Every morning after Cordelia died, Walter lived for about a decade. So every morning, security would go to his trailer and do a flag raising ceremony because he was very patriotic. I mean, you see across the street, you look at Independence Hall, a brick by brick recreation made not to make a dime.
Just to be there.
Just to be there, because he was very into being a patriotic American. So they would do the flag raising ceremony, they would salute him in the morning, and he would just have his coffee and just walk around. I mean, he was just here. We all know that Walt Disney had plans to live at Disneyland.
Oh, yeah.
He passed away, unfortunately, too soon. The above the Pirates was going to be his personal apartment, right? They have the one above the firehouse too, right?
Still have that there.
Yeah.
That one's still furnished.
Yeah, oh yeah. So we have the Ghost Town City Hall, which years ago was the bonnet shop where you could buy an old West bonnet. They used to sell these by the hundreds a day.
Really?
Every little girl wanted a bonnet.
You want a bonnet? Would you wear a bonnet? Would you buy a bonnet?
I might actually.
You know what it
Wear it
was?
here though. I'd only wear it here.
It was a combination of being in this park and Little House on the Prairie being on TV.
Popular culture.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Little House on the Prairie.
So we talked about the magic shop being the gun shop. The glass blower was originally just a display of a millstone where they would grind wheat and cornmeal.
And that's still...
It's still in there. It's still in there.
Yeah, it's still in
The greatest story of that is this guy, Joe Gazzini, that I used to work with back in the day. Joe, again, was in his 80s. Joe is working the millstone, and this old guy comes in and starts taking the sacks of cornmeal. And Joe goes, you can't take those. He goes, no, it's fine. I'm just going to take them. He goes, sir, you have to pay for those. And the guy goes, I'll be right back. He comes back with security. And security goes, what's going on? They explain. And they turn to Joe and they go, you know this is Walter Knott, right?
Oh, my God.
And Joe turns pale like, this is it. And Walter goes, no. He's just doing his job. Good job. Don't let anybody take this unless you know. But that was Joe, right? So that was the mill. Next door, it's not there anymore. There used to be a building made out of crates. And that was the knife shop. And it was it had a dirt floor. They sold knives. And it was made to look like it was made out of crates because Walter loved the idea that pioneers settled here and made their houses out of whatever they had. You know about the bottle house, right? The bottle house is made out of bottles. That's a replica of the one up at Calico. Walter couldn't believe there was a house made of bottles, so he had to have one. Do you know why all the bottles face inward?
Why do the bottles all face inward?
Yes, they have to. When you're building a bottle house, all the bottles...
Water?
Nothing to do with water.
I have no idea. Is it just the structure of the bottle being more supportive?
It has to do with wind.
Yeah,
Oh, it does? Oh, the whistle.
The house will whistle if you build it the other way.
I would build it the other way just so I could have a whistle.
And now that's the bottle house. Originally the bottle house had an annex to it, which was called the music hall, which was full of like all these machines that you put a quarter in and they play music. That was very popular. And then in the back, there was a huge painting called Night Watch, where this Indian family is looking out at the sky. We'll go to Boot Hill and you can see Night Watch in a different form, right? Okay, let's head that way. We're headed that way. We're going to go through Ghost Town here.
So we're passing
Am I boring you to tears?
No, not at all. This is all interesting. By the way, that Boot Hill Undertaker sign is an original. That's an original, right? The Boot Hill Undertaker
Yes,
sign?
you can tell. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so right here was the knife shop made out of crates. This is an original building. The Lucky Cuss Mine can totally tell the difference. This is, again, part of that pioneer spirit of making your house out of whatever you have. So this is the barrel house. We have the bottle house, the barrel house, and we have the crate house, right?
Yeah.
So then if you go around here to Boot Hill, there's a display of barbed wire.
Yes.
And you can see the different types of wire that they used. And that was how the West was tamed. Barbed wire tamed the West because that was how they cut the land into pieces and made it civilization.
Yeah.
You know, barbed wire gets a bum deal, but it really did change the world. And then right there you can see, I mean, you know what fracking is?
Yeah.
Where they shoot the water?
Yeah.
That's Old West fracking to get gold. They would shoot that at the hillside, break it down, and then put it down in the sluice box and separate the gold out.
What the frack?
Yeah, I mean, it's just buried there. No one even knows it's here.
I mean, I think that's kind of cool. I mean, that's kind of the fun of this place is that there's little hidden treasures and gems to kind of find, and
Yeah.
you don't know the significance of history
That's
of
why I
it.
like working here, man.
Yeah, I know. There's so much stuff, and then over here we have all these grave sites that probably have a lot of history and meaning to them.
Yeah, and you can tell, again, all of the raised lettering. The raised lettering ones are original.
Yeah. The Hiram McTavish one, I'm assuming, is the one that's probably taken care of the most.
Yeah, because it's got the effect in it.
Yeah, how long has that effect been in there? Because
Oh.
to explain to everyone who's listening who may not know, ooh, it got real windy, who may not know, if you stand on the grave, which you're allowed to here,
Yeah.
you can feel the heartbeat of Hiram McTavish, and on the actual tombstone itself, it gives you like a little poem or a rhyming sentence of how you feel his heart.
Yeah, I'm not sure when they put that in. I couldn't find any paperwork on it. I would imagine the 60s.
Yeah.
You know, the earthquake one is a little more recent, but I don't think it works anymore.
work
It
anymore.
used to rattle and the rocks would shake. You can't see it, but before this Old West facade was put up, you used to get a clear view of the Grand Canyon, and there was an Indian family statuary, and that was a recreation of the Night Watch painting. So it was an actual duplicate of
It's too bad that it's being blocked by that thing.
Yeah, no,
Not
you-
the train. The train's going by right now.
Yeah.
More or less being this sods.
It's just part of the. I mean, Knott's changes over the years.
Yeah.
You have to go with change. I mean, we do our best to preserve the history here, and there's a lot of history. And like you said, it's right under your nose. You just have to know where to look. The Knott's Berry Farm that you came to as a kid, and the Knott's Berry Farm I came to as a kid, it's still here. You just have to know where to look. Sure, the rides have changed. You know, Knott's Berry Tales became Kingdom of the Dinosaurs, became Iron Reef, right? But that's just a natural progression of you either change or you go out of business, right? I get that. So I don't begrudge those decisions that were made, because I can come into Ghost Town and have the same experience I had when I was 6. It's all still here. You can see the graves are here. Some trivia for you. Some of the more well-to-do people in the Old West were buried with this fence around them.
Oh, okay.
Why do you think they did that? The coyotes can't dig up the corpse.
Jeez, that is very...
That's why they
not at all
did
what I would've
this.
expected.
Yeah, the coyotes can't dig up the corpse.
Dang coyotes digging up my bodies.
So over across the way, there's a hearse where the guy sits. Well, he doesn't sit up anymore, but he used to. That used to be parked way over near the lake, Reflection Lake, where the church was.
Yeah.
He used to sit up and turn his head, and he had a bullet hole right in his forehead.
Oh, jeez, really?
Yeah. Okay, let's go. I'll show you something really cool. Come here. I'll show you something really cool that nobody ever goes to look at.
I might have looked at it. I don't know. I kind of had my time searching around Ghost Town. We'll see. I'm curious to know.
Now you know about the baby rattlers. Be
Oh,
careful.
yeah, the baby rattlers. So there's this thing on the ground. You walk up to it, it says, "Caution, baby rattlers." You look through the grate. On the inside, it's baby rattles.
Be careful. All right. Okay, so this is the Miners Bank that we're next to. It was put here in 1954. And the cool thing about the bank that most people don't notice is that it's made to look as if the second floor has been destroyed.
Yeah, like it exploded.
Yeah, and that's because if you look there, it's the Order of the Eclampus Vitus, which if you look up Eclampus Vitus,
Isn't that Latin?
it was I think so. It was started out as a joke between cowboys who would go, "Oh, you're not in the club. The Eclampus Vitus, I'm in the club, but you're not in the club." Well, the club didn't exist, but they would they perpetuated it enough that eventually it did become a physical thing. So Walter just loved that so much that he put this up here, but apparently there's been something went wrong, so it blew itself up. Okay, so back here, this building here,
This is terrifying, by the way.
this used to be Mother Murphy's boarding house. And when you came back here, it was a tableau of a family having Thanksgiving dinner. And I have pictures of it somewhere. The worst mannequins you've ever seen. All bug-eyed.
These are them on this side, isn't it?
No, these mannequins were the worst. They were
worse than these
paper
guys?
mache with bug eyes that sort of moved back and forth. Terrible. The scariest things ever. What you're looking at here, this stuff came out of Doc Walker's cabin, which used to be located on the lake area. It was a big cabin, and Doc Walker was the local dentist. So he had a lot of money, so he had a big, nice house. This is Doc Walker here, as you can see with his dentistry equipment, right? It is terrible. I mean, look at the stuff in the box over there. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
But here's the cool thing about this building.
Got a bear rug down there.
This is an original building.
Oh, it is.
It was moved here, like I said, in 1952 from Downey, where in Downey, this was the first post office.
No way.
This building was a post
Oh my
office.
goodness.
No one has
So
any
cool.
idea that that's a thing.
Yeah, see, that's something I didn't know.
Isn't that great?
You wouldn't know until somebody told you, and once you pass by it now, you could appreciate it for
Yeah,
what it is.
it's cool. Like, oh, that's the post
Yeah.
office.
Kids these days would be like, I don't know.
And then that outhouse there is special. Do you know why?
Email someone. Or what is that one? What's special about that one?
I'll show you why it's special. It's unlike most outhouses.
It's extra big.
And why is it extra big? Take a peek inside.
Because there's two doors.
So you can go with a friend. I used to do school tours here. This was one of my favorite stops because you could just see the kids going, like they were horrified. I go, no, you and you, Billy, and And Billy and Jack, you could go together. Oh my God! Yeah, there's 2 seats in there.
And they're oddly close too.
Oh yeah,
You
well,
have a lot of space. You're gonna be rubbing cheeks with someone.
you're gonna go with a friend.
I love that. Would you do that? Would you go poop next to somebody?
No.
What if you had to?
No, I'd find a bucket or something.
You'd find a bucket.
Yeah.
That's oddly specific, but okay, I'll take it. I'll take that as an answer.
Okay, we're gonna go into the museum here real quick. This was another one of my first jobs I ever worked here. I used to be in the museum 9:45 to 6:15, 8.5 hours. The museum was started and moved here it was started by Marion Spear, the guy in that picture there. He just loved collecting. He would go out to the old ghost towns and old settlements, and he would just pick stuff up and drive it home. And he started the museum in Long Beach, where people would show up and bring him stuff. Oh, we have stuff for you. For your museum?
That's cool.
Bring Grandpa's stuff and give it to him.
Well, people knew. That's so awesome.
And the museum used to be where Bigfoot Rapids is.
Okay.
And it was huge. It had aisle after aisle of just stuff everywhere. Because the Wilderness Dance Hall used to be Mott's Miniatures.
Yeah.
So we had those 2 next to each other. Again, you could spend an hour in each place and not see it all. And the museum this building's been a million things. For a while, it was the Pendleton Men's Shop. They sold blankets and jeans and jackets. And then in the early 90s, they converted it to the museum because they were moving everything around.
Yeah.
This is just a small portion of what they have. They did sell a lot of it at auction.
They get the important stuff.
The stuff in here is priceless. I mean, they have the most amazing selection of guns. Here, I'll show you some cool stuff here to look for. Having worked here 8.5 hours a day, I've seen it all, right? So the guns are amazing to look at, right?
Yeah,
but this
really
one in
cool.
particular is a palm gun used by gamblers. You get one shot, just like Biff Tannen, or Mad Dog Tannen in Back to the Future 3. You get one shot, Buford. One shot's all I need. And that's the kind of gun. I mean, that's the coolest thing ever.
Before. I've definitely seen that before.
And then
really cool.
the other cool stuff is this here. This is Old West pornography.
Well, because they're showing their ankles.
Yeah. And I've always laughed that no one's ever gotten upset about it. Okay, so these bottles, Marion Spear brought these bottles. We're looking at the window now.
Yeah.
Beautiful display of purple bottles. But guess what? These bottles were clear when he collected them.
Another purple?
They turned purple from the sun. Yes, the chemicals in the old-timey glass turned them purple. They weren't originally supposed to be purple.
That's kind of fun, though.
Yeah, I think that's a fun fact, right? Yeah. Okay, so this used to be at the foot of Ghost Town. To welcome you in. You can tell the raised lettering again, more of that Walter Knott specialty.
It says, "Welcome to Ghost Town. Here you will see how a breed of rugged pioneers lived with few tools and without government, and these hardy people subdued our great western wilderness. As you go on giving thought to a past so recently gone, share with us our respect and pride for these self-reliant people who built the West Walter Knott."
Yeah. So in 2007, they moved it in here because it was going to be destroyed. So
thank God.
Thankfully, it's here.
This is a piece of history.
Piece of history.
This is huge.
Yeah. Okay, so we have more guns here. This is a lot of the Knott family, the restaurant stuff, the ephemera they have from the park, right?
Like menus and
Yeah.
ads and pictures of, it looks like newspaper clippings.
Newspaper clippings and old Ghost Town Gazettes. That's a letter from a serviceman who just had the best meal he ever had.
Oh, really? Yeah,
7 o'clock. Please don't put money in the machine.
so pale. You can barely read it.
This register here, like that's Marty Allen.
Oh, wow.
He's a 1950s comedian.
Yeah, I
his
remember the
catchphrase was "Hello there," so he wrote that in the book, right? One of them, it might be down the way here. They signed it and then they wrote. Oh, here it is, right here. He signed it and then he wrote TCB, which has been he's with Elvis.
Yeah.
TCB was Elvis's taking care of business. Okay, so then we have all this ephemera here. Walter Knott surveying equipment. This is when Audie Murphy came. He was a big movie star. There's John Wayne on the log ride for the first time. There's Cordelia christening it with boysenberry juice.
Of course, that's fitting.
There's the general store, like I talked about earlier. You can see all the garbage for sale around them. No,
I've seen this image a lot. I've seen this a lot.
This was the most popular steakhouse menu for a long time. And again, they had the menu in the restaurant, and then this one was meant to tell your friends you were here. Mail it from here. Let them know you came here.
I see it.
All of this stuff was designed. Send it back home. Tell them to come here. It was all about self-promotion. So I talked to you about the Covered Wagon show, the first theme park show ever, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they tore it out. It's gone. Yeah. But it was, you went in, and there was a guy at a bar, and he would go, "Howdy, folks." Nothing moves. It's all lights. "Howdy, let me tell you about those tired, worn travelers." And you look past, there's a diorama of a wagon train. So in the front are these big horses, and they get smaller, and by the end, the last figures are just little tiny pieces of paper. But it tells the story of Walter Knott's grandma and his mother coming to California, right?
Yeah.
So when they tore it out, we thought all that stuff's gone. The horse in the window is from the Covered Wagon show.
Oh, crazy.
This was one of the lead horses in the diorama. This is the last remaining piece of the diorama. Nobody has any idea what it is. This is an incredibly important piece of Knott's history.
But because you worked there.
Yes. So this little courtyard is not open to the public.
Yeah.
It used to be open to the public, but it's not anymore.
Coming out here at least once.
Long time ago it was. See those bottles?
Yeah.
That's another of that pioneer, use whatever you got. The difference here is that those bottles were put in that garden by Walter Knott himself.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah, that's what legend says.
Cool. It's like when you're at Disneyland standing by the railroads where Walt Disney stood.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that is an equivalent
It's a piece of history.
that. It's a piece of history.
Yeah.
It's insane. And this is probably used for haunt breaks for monsters.
It's just a break area.
It's
yeah.
a break area for
monsters. They put lights and they shine them out here to give a cool effect. But,
I love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, so I worked the jail for the first year and a half I was here, and one day a guy comes up and he goes, "Hey, you should go back and check on Sad-Eye Joe. His head's fallen off."
Uh-oh.
I said, "What?" So I go back, and sure enough, I don't know how it happened. The guy's head's sideways, right? So we got the key, we went in, and we discovered that the head was originally carved wood. Sad-Eye Joe's head was carved wood. The one that was in the jail in '94 was rubber, and it was made so that the mouth would move. Never saw this in a million years, but it had mechanisms and gears, right? But it just shows you, like, there's a lot of weirdness here. And part of that weirdness is Sad-Eye Joe's head is right over there in the case.
Oh, no way.
Again, history is right under your nose. That's the original Andy Anderson, the guy who's carved them all. That's the original Sad-Eye Joe head.
Oh, that's fun. I never even knew that was here. That's something I didn't know about.
That's the wooden head?
Yeah. All right, so let's head out to the left. Or let's go this way. Okay. More cool stuff in there, right? This is amazing here because it's a side saddle.
Oh, for ladies.
Yeah.
It's for ladies. You never see side saddles.
No.
It's the only one I've ever seen in my life.
Actually, it's probably the only one
I just think it's cool.
No, it's really
Right?
It's unique.
When I first started here, there's a diorama in this case right here. And the guy in the doorway there, the saloon, he was falling over. And all day, every day, people would come up to me, the guy's falling over. Yeah, I know. Hey, the guy's falling over. Yeah, I know. Finally, I said, you got to fix this. The people bug me all day. You've got to fix it. They fixed it. So.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. But yeah, this was all redone a couple of years ago by Jeff Shattuck and his team. It looks really nice.
It's really, really nice.
They refined it. They got rid of some of the more bizarre stuff and put in some stuff that it's interesting to people, Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this is great.
Right. And then we're right by the Calico Saloon.
This is the Calico Saloon. Just recently, the doors are you can swing in, swing out. For years, you were not allowed to do that, right?
Really?
Yeah, they were pinned open.
You're taller than him.
Here's that plaque we're telling you about.
Yes.
This is from 1990. This is the 50th anniversary of Ghost Town. Just sort of cementing it and saying thank you for this amazing piece of property here.
Is Knott's Berry Farm considered like a what is it?
Historical landmark?
Yeah,
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
Some buildings are, but not. I don't know.
Can a whole portion of a theme park be considered?
Yeah, I don't think you can.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question for somebody.
I know, right?
Yeah, so let's go over here. I'll show you. This is cool. This is the gun shop. This is another one of the Peekins, and it still has a mannequin in it.
There's a creepy boy next to an axe in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's terrifying personally.
To me, this is the creepiest Pekin we've got here. And we've got one with a dead body.
Yeah.
There's something about this one because you forget it's here, and then you come in here, and not only is he 3D, but then there's that 2D like you're talking about back there. Yeah. It's just really, really weird. Yeah. So this is the gun shop original, 1946, and I don't think anybody's even been in there except to dust in 62 years.
I mean, why touch it?
72 years?
I don't think you need to touch it.
Yeah, no, it would probably collapse. You can see all the signs on here, all that sandblasted
those are all
effect. And I just love...
Look at the Miners Outfitting Depot.
Yeah, my favorite sign in the whole park is right there. Grizzly bear to fight bull tonight. There's also a public hanging on Tuesday, sponsored by the Vigilante Committee.
I wonder who they're hanging. Curious.
That's so great.
That's pretty fun. I mean, you're never going to see anything like that anywhere else.
No.
It's the only place you're going to see stuff like that, which I think is so fantastic. It's so much fun. I mean, come on, no one's going to have a brothel in their theme park.
Only a good park would have a brothel.
Oh, yeah, a good theme park.
We're gonna end the tour right here.
Okay, perfect.
Something really cool.
This has been fantastic, Jeff. Thank you for taking us around.
Hey, no, it's my pleasure. I hope you got some good stuff.
Oh no, this is all fantastic. Every single bit of this is absolutely.
And we didn't even touch mine ride, log ride, all of that.
Those are episodes on their own.
Yeah.
So you can talk about them for hours.
All right, so we're here at the picture gallery.
Yes.
This is where you can have your old time photos taken, right?
Yeah.
Theme park staple. There's some people getting dressed up in their Old West finery.
You want to do this, don't you?
I do want to do it.
We just haven't done it
My
yet.
wife made me do it for our anniversary, so yes.
Well, she's going to make me do it at some point. We're going to do it eventually.
So that's the saloon. We're looking at the saloon over there, right?
Yeah.
When the saloon was built, it didn't have a stage. Instead of that stage behind the bar, there was a huge painting by Paul von Kleben of Calico at Night that showed this Old West town, like the Old West town of your dreams, where there's fights going on and there's always this activity. And that was supposed to be the centerpiece of the park, that painting. And the shows were done. If you go up to the bar and look up to the right, there's a little alcove. That's where they did the shows. And it wasn't until I think the late 70s that they were like, okay, it needs a proper stage. So they hollowed that out and put the stage in. But the painting is still here.
Oh.
And there's the painting of Calico. Saturday Night in Old Calico by Paul von Kleben.
Cool. Oh my goodness. So if you come into the picture gallery and you come in the door, turn to your right and look up, it's up on the top of the wall. That is incredible.
That's so cool.
That's so cool.
It shows you what kind of artist Paul von Kleben was.
That's a huge painting.
It's beautiful.
It's massive.
That's when you're looking at it. That's Walter's and Paul's idea of Ghost Town right there.
That's the concept art for what they made.
That's it. And it's still here.
Of anything you've showed me today, I think that's the thing that.
That's why I closed with it.
Yeah, that kind of.
That's why I closed with it.
Heartstrings a little bit.
Yeah. And how many people have no idea?
But now they will. Now they will.
There's going to be a lot more people coming into the picture gallery.
Yeah, and not for pictures.
So that's our tour. I could probably do another hour just with the ideas of. Imagine what it was like. I mean, it's 2018. Well, let's go out on the patio so we don't bother these people. But it's 2018, right? We've got the internet, and you ask me a question, I can get the answer off my phone, and I can tell you how long it would take to get to a building 30 miles from here. You know, the traffic will take you 15 hours, whatever it is. Imagine being here in like 1943 and 1944 with this one-of-a-kind Old West town. The Old West at that point is only 60 years prior. So it's not like out of reach. There's people who are like, oh yeah, this is what I grew up in, right? And
I didn't even think about it like that. That's funny.
Oh yeah, well if you look at I'm gonna get it wrong, but you get the flavor of it. Like Wild Bill Hickok, when he died, Tom Mix, the cowboy in the movies, carried his coffin
Oh, geez, I didn't know that.
You know, and I probably got the names wrong, but cowboys who were famous in the Old West died in the 20s and 30s, and cowboys on the silver screen were part of the funeral procession. So it's not that far off. You're talking about Walter's idea of this ghost town, 42, 43, 46, 49, is the heyday of the Lone Ranger and all those westerns, the Rifleman on TV, right? And people could come here and live it. But beyond that, like, just imagine being around Walter and his crazy ideas, because right across the way is Silver Bullet, but just beyond Silver Bullet is Reflection Lake. And Reflection Lake was originally the Buena Park town dump.
No way.
It was the dump. So Walter bought it, and he bulldozed all the trash into a big hole, put dirt on it, and made a lake. And they joked with him and said, "Oh yeah, call it Reflection Lake, Walter," because they all knew it was the dump, right? Well, again, something stays around long enough, that's just the way you know it. It's Reflection Lake.
Yeah.
What else could it be? Oh, I wasn't around to know it was the dump, right? So if you go into the middle of that lake and dig down 20 feet, all that trash is still there.
Oh my god.
All those bottles, all those cans, all
They
that
gotta dig
paperwork.
that up at some point.
At some point,
There's
man.
gotta be something cool in there.
But it just showed you that Walter had these crazy ideas, and he was willing to risk. I mean, every point of the Knott story is about Walter risking it all. You know, we're going to build a chicken dinner restaurant. How? Every cent goes into the restaurant. Hey, the restaurant's popular. What do you want to do? I want to build more restaurant. So every cent goes into the remodel. Every cent goes into the log ride, the mine ride. I mean, these are crazy ideas. And he had these crazy people around him that just embraced it and said, "I'm with you." You know what I mean? Because even Roy Disney told his brother Walt, "It'll never happen.
yeah.
You're a crazy man. Just make movies." And instead, over here, there's this weird pioneer spirit where strangers walk up and go, "Not only do I love your idea, but I'm going to live here with you. I'm a cowboy now." Right? And that's why I come to work.
Yeah.
I get to work in this every day, and that can-do spirit is still here because I get to go into my boss's office and go, "Hey, I got an idea for something that's never been done before." And he goes, "Give it a shot."
Spirit's never left.
It's never left.
Which
It's
is
still
fantastic.
here.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, thank you for taking us around. There's like so much history that I don't think I've ever really thought about or looked at. I mean, there's a lot of things that I knew about and I appreciate it, but this took it to another level.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Hey.
I agree completely.
It's my pleasure. And again, anytime, because I've done this similar tour for celebrities, and it never gets old.
Oh, no.
Every tour is different. I take the different things and show different things, and there's just so much little tiny history hidden in corners here that it's great that it's still here.
Yeah.
Knott's is still here. So, and I'm going to send you that picture of the archery because I just think that's the coolest thing ever.
We'll put that up. But we'll definitely have to do a part 2 where we talk about mine riding.
Mine ride, log ride. Yeah, get some rides
else.
people in on that because they know more than I do.
Okay, and definitely plug yourself, my friend. 91 Reasons, right?
Oh yeah,
Podcast.
my podcast is called 91 Reasons. I talk about movies and I talk about my family, and we've got a lot of some great episodes coming up. My sister I talked to last night is finally going to come on the show and talk about her Berg stories.
Did Berg ever come to Knott's?
Oh, I'm sure he did. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Once a time. Oh yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, and then if you want to check out, I just finished a new novel. It's on Amazon called Your Friend in Time: How Back to the Future Changed My Life, and you can read all about my adventures trying to not just watch the movie, but enter the movie, which sounds crazy, except you see the pictures of me on the set where I broke in and hid out, and so yeah,
You're
that's
the
fun.
Marty McFly of our time.
Yeah.
Right?
So there you go.
Cool.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you so much.
Anytime.
Well, that was fantastic. I learned so much new stuff that I didn't know before on that tour.
I think my favorite part of this tour was finding out where the Catawampus came from.
Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest part because they have a Catawampus like social club there and everything. I don't know how many people who are in that club actually know where the Catawampus came from, other than just knowing that it's this weird little creature that's in Knott.
The highlights for me were was when like basically people just wandered in and were like, "I'm gonna work here," And then Walter Knott was like, sure, you could stay in this hotel. And then that was like just...
They just kind of lived at Knott's.
Yeah, they just kind of lived there. I thought that was really funny. And then also the bottles that Walter Knott put down himself. I thought that was kind of
the highlights for me definitely was the mural. The mural
yeah.
that's still at Knott's. I thought that was completely amazing. And that was a very good ending.
Yeah.
So that's definitely... And then the bottles as well, I think. Just having like a piece of history still there where he did it himself.
Yeah.
His hands touched the stuff,
kind of
which is
picture
really
him
cool.
doing that.
Oh yeah, it's like the equivalent of Disney, Walt Disney, like standing on the tracks.
Yeah.
You can picture Walter Knott sitting there.
No, it's even more.
Doing those.
It's even more endearing in some kind of way. It's
Why
like,
do you think that?
Because it's like your grandpa, like, oh, I have a great idea. You know, like Walt Disney wasn't like, you know, bricking bricks. And,
Well, I guess
you
like
know.
he was Uncle Walt. This is like your grandpa.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I have a great idea. I'm going to put bottles in the ground. You know, it's like, you know, it's just something like puttering around type of thing.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah,
that is
it's a little bit
rather
more
endearing.
endearing. Yeah.
Yes. I completely agree. So, but we do have to say so much thanks to Jeff Tucker for taking us around Knott's Berry Farm. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. And make sure you do check out Jeff's new book, Your Friend in Time, How Back to the Future Changed My Life, as well as his other books, the 6 Keys series, which is also really, really cool. I mean, the fact that we have a friend that wrote so many books, that's kind of insane.
Yeah, I couldn't write a book if I tried.
You could read books very well.
I could, yeah.
You just can't write them.
No.
But as I said also before, make sure you also check out his podcast, 91 Reasons. Really, really fun. Does movie reviews, talks about his life. Sometimes he has his family on there. And they just talk about their lives. And it's really interesting sometimes.
Yeah.
So make sure you go and check that out. And also, thank you for everyone for joining us for our Season 2 premiere
Hope you enjoyed it.
of the Theme Park Duo podcast. And if you're new here, welcome. If you're coming back from Season 1, welcome back. And make sure everybody, if you haven't already, check us out on all of our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And Nikki loves doing her Instagram stories. I think I did one of like a dancing chicken yesterday.
If they're ever like the special, you know, like funny ones, it's always Gabe, because
That's true.
I just take pictures and videos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you put one up that was you thinking you were taking a picture,
Oh,
which was
yeah.
rather funny.
Oh,
Couldn't stop
gosh.
laughing about that because you
Well,
made
it's gone
made
now. So
really
yeah,
ugly face.
talk about it all you want. It's gone. It's been more than
It's on your
24
phone
hours.
saved, so I could just post it anytime I want.
Don't you dare.
It was on the social media.
I
Who
know.
cares?
Well, if you saw that this weekend, good for you.
You're one of the special few.
Yeah, I think like 30 people
Yeah,
saw
30
it.
people saw it. But yes, so check us out on all of those social media platforms. All you have to do is search Theme Park Duo. And then also, if you ever want to contact us over email, you just have to send an email to...
themeparkduo@gmail.com.
Exactly. And then, if you want to leave us a 5-star written review on iTunes, that would be awesome. It would really help us out. It brings us up in the standings, makes it easier for people to find us and enjoy us like you are right now.
And maybe we'll do something ridiculous again this season.
I know, we did a lot of the pie. We did a pie in the face for either of us.
Yeah, not doing that again, but maybe we'll think of something else. If you have suggestions, email them to us.
Yes, yes.
Nothing inappropriate.
No, yeah. Thank you for that caveat. Now that you say that, we are toying with YouTube a little bit. So if you want to
Yeah.
head over to YouTube, you can subscribe to our channel. We are releasing some videos every now and again. We're very inconsistent
Yes.
about it, just because it's something that we're toying with. But we do release the episodes of the podcast on YouTube as well now, and we are on outside. I think at the end of season 1 till now, we were on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and all the other podcatcher apps. Mm-hmm. Now we're on Stitcher. I mean, not Stitcher. Now we're on what's the app where you listen to the music?
Spotify?
Spotify. Yeah, we're on Spotify.
We are?
Yeah, we're on Spotify.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
It's weird though, because our episodes are on Spotify. Like if you search Theme Park Duo, but if our whole like show isn't on there, like the show title doesn't come up and like everything underneath it.
Weird.
It's odd, but all the episodes are on there, so that's good. So you can listen to it there.
Yeah.
So a lot of other options here now, and we're trying to expand and make things bigger, and so that more people could enjoy us. So that's really all it is. And thanks for listening to this week's show, and we hope to see you guys next time.
Yep, and always remember,
There's always a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. See ya.
Thanks for riding with the theme park duo. Make sure to gather all your belongings before the end of the podcast. Bye-bye.